welcome to I Caught It on Audio. This is Water Cooler Chat episode 17, The Rings of Power, season 1, episode 6.
Hello and welcome to another episode of I Got It on Audio, a 64 Tacos podcast. Today we are continuing our Water Cooler Chat series on the Amazon Prime show, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. We're going to be talking about episode 6 from season 1 today. Just a quick breakdown of what happened. We spent most of our time with the humans and their struggles with the orcs. They tricked the orcs into thinking they were still at the tower and then defeated some of them there. And then the orcs realized they were back at the village, and they had a big battle there where the humans who betrayed or who joined with what's his name?
Adar.
They were forced to go fight first. So the humans who stayed behind had to kill those humans without knowing it. And then after that battle, the true orc soldiers came and attacked the village. Just in the nick of time, the Numenorians arrived on the shores and rescued the humans, but not before the orcs were able to capture the relic, the sword, and use it to summon a great stream of water, which apparently is what they had been digging those trenches for in the earlier episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the water all flowed into a big area where there was a whole bunch of magma, and that caused a giant eruption and destroyed everything in the surrounding area. And they don't explicitly say it, but I feel like this was the creation of Mount Doom.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I did also.
Yep. I think that's in the right spot on the map too, more or less.
Yeah. So now we've got Mount Doom. We were left with Galadriel basically being consumed by ash and flame. So she's probably done. Yeah, I would imagine we're not going to see that character ever again in Lord of the Rings.
Yep. I don't need to see a body. She's dead.
Yeah. We certainly don't know that she's alive 3,000 years from now.
That's a spoiler, Dave.
Galadriel's a really common name.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point. It's not that Galadriel.
There's a lot of these super powerful blonde elves, female elves named Galadriel. Yeah, what did you guys think of this one?
This is probably my least favorite episode.
Was it?
It was. Why? It was just a lot of fighting. It was on two of the plot lines that I didn't care so much about, so we didn't even visit most of the plot lines.
Yeah, we didn't get to see the Harfoot or the dwarves in this episode.
Yeah, so I'm kind of tired of all the fighting. I liked all the other stuff. But
we've gotten to a point in cinema for sure where there's this need to have these grand epic battles, and it was very refreshing that we hadn't had to deal with that up until this point. I will give you that.
The one thing I did like, and I don't know if Dan or you liked it as much, was I really liked the reveal that Adar was one of the elves that was captured and twisted to help create the orcs.
Yes. Yeah,
I loved that.
That was my theory from the first moment we saw him in episode 3, I think, was that he was the one of the original elves that became corrupted. So yeah, that was a cool. Finally getting that answer, definitively, was very neat.
Yeah, the whole thing with the sword being up at the tower to open the floodgates and get the water through the trenches kind of came out of left field.
I mean, they hinted at this. It is a little bit of a weird. I don't know how this all works. Where they're pouring water into magma sets off a volcano.
You're not a geologist.
Yeah, you could convince me that that's true, I guess, but I didn't. It was a little strange, and why the sword, clearly a weapon, is also. I mean, he says it's a key, and he finds the spot where you find the sword. So it was all laid out, but it is a little it is a little bit of this important object, is going to serve this purpose, even if, it seems weird to have a sword be the thing that you put in there. But I don't know. I guess we don't know enough. But I agree. It was a little odd like that. I did not expect that to happen. But hey, it was kind of a neat surprise. And when the prize at the end of that is, oh shit, that's Mordor. They're they're creating that's Mount Doom.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. Plus, it makes sense. We have to have Mount Doom in order to for Sauron to create the One Ring.
Right.
So we got there, but yeah, I certainly didn't see it coming. They've been laying groundwork, though, literally with digging the trenches since the very beginning. So, okay, but yeah, it seemed, I feel like we didn't see it coming because it was a thing one wouldn't expect in a, does anyone think that that's how volcanoes work kind of way?
Right. Yeah.
That wasn't the part that bothered me, though. The part that bothered me was how the sword got there. So the one elf hid it, and he hid it on his own so no one would know. And yeah, the boy probably followed him. So Theo followed him. So Theo would know where it is because Theo's feeling drawn to it.
Right.
Okay,
yeah,
well, how did it get from Theo passing it off to Adar and then to this other human who brought it up to the tower?
Well, he tells him, I have a job for you. As the Numenorians are arriving, Adar says to I think Waldrick is his name. He says, "Here, I have a job for you," and then that's when the switch happens. He hands him the sword, the half sword, and puts the hand axe in. And then he runs off with the hand axe.
That part.
Yeah, because Galadriel chases after Adar because Arondir tells her that Adar has a thing that he cannot get away with. But he, in fact, does not have it. He had given it to the other person.
Okay, I missed that switch then.
Okay.
Yeah,
I withdraw my complaint.
It's all very it's all very logical. Again, my only sort of is the origin story of a volcano. Hey, maybe that's how it works. If you dumped a bunch of water,
that's how it works in Middle Earth.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. My only real complaint, I'm going to forgive the whole giant battle scene because it's the first one of those we've had in 7 hours of film here. So kudos to them for waiting that long to actually do it. My problem is Arondir, a extremely wise elf, trying to destroy the key / sword with a hammer he clearly bought at Harbor Freight.
One use only, baby. Harbor Freight way.
It's like, what's going on? This dude has to know that he's not going to break this thing. What is he doing?
Well, I mean, you would know deep down, but wouldn't you try?
Yeah, I suppose, and that's what he has at his disposal. But still, I mean, I
don't know why they keep hiding it. It's like, why don't you drop it down the well or try to just send it?
Yeah,
I don't get why it's like, oh, let's put it under the floorboards again.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest complaint. They hid it at the center of their defense plan rather than him going off into the woods and hiding it somewhere.
That's what I thought he would do, is hide it in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, no one must know, but I am going to do it in the middle of the place where everybody is.
Where everybody's making preparations.
So that was a little bit weak. And not for story reasons, then it can all happen right there.
Yep.
And okay, that's where we needed to get. So you have to sort of suspend your disbelief a little bit.
And then in the end, he did tell, what's his name? Tell the boy to give it to the Numenorians to throw into the bottom of the ocean. So, that was a good idea. But
yeah, and I thought it was a cool parallel to the One Ring. It seems like people who have jabbed this thing into their arm feel a connection to it.
Yeah.
And I like that instead of taking it away from Theo, he says, you have to divest yourself or whatever he says. Right. You have to be rid of it. It has to be your choice, Yep. It echoes the, you have to give it away freely, the way that Gandalf makes Bilbo leave the ring without physically. He says, "You have to leave it, not I'm going to take it from you."
Right,
you know,
right.
So that was cool. I thought that was a nice sort of parallel to the themes, the Tolkien themes.
Yeah. I did like that Adar was smart enough too not to send his forces into the village. Like, okay, we thought we'd have an easy fight taking this tower. They tricked us. They're not tricking me again.
Right. The bad guy was intelligent about their tactics. He sent the humans in to go because they're more expendable. Yeah, that was a neat twist.
As far as my take on the fight, I am very much against let's have a half an hour of just fighting in movies and stuff. I just feel fatigued by that, especially with all the superhero stuff we've been seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So I know where you're coming from. I thought they broke the fighting up pretty well in this. They didn't. None of the scenes were too long, and it happened over the course of several different things. It wasn't really that specifically bothered me. That the fact that there was a lot of fighting. It's that we didn't get any levity with any of the other more levity laden plot lines. Like, you know, the Harfoots are a little more lighthearted, even with, you know, the stranger and Durin and Elrond sort of interplay and, you know, various stealing of tabletops, things like that. There just wasn't any of that. And so it wasn't that the fighting was badly done or I even thought that there was too much. It's that it wasn't balanced by the other storylines. I think that was my...
I'd agree.
I agree that this was probably the weakest episode, not because it wasn't well done, but just because it focused on two story, like the Númenóreans and the Southlanders coming to, and then they all came together. So it was just a little too sort of like focused in on that one thing. Mm-hmm. That would be the reason that I didn't think it was as strong. They did a great job with what they were trying to do, but it was just an inherent weakness of not having the balance of the other storylines in there as well.
Yeah, and it's something that had to happen. I mean, we had to have like our first epic battle. So, yeah. I mean, it had to happen. I get it. I just wish they would have intercut another story in there to kind of break it up a little.
Yep, that would have been better. But yeah, this battle, they've been building towards this battle for 5 episodes now, so it had to come to fruition. And I think it's kind of nice that they did take care of that now, because I feel like episode 7, we're going to get to have some resolution with the stranger and hopefully also have gain some more information about the dwarves. And then in season 8, they can wrap everything up all together and give us a proper ending to a series without it having to be the giant battle scene, you know?
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't think of that, but it's only episode 6 and we've done this huge battle. I don't see another huge battle. I'm not aware of any massive armies floating around,
right.
Or, you know, any sort of armies at all.
Yeah.
So I that's good. That means that maybe we don't have to, like you said, we don't have to have this to be the culmination of the season, which wouldn't be terrible, but I kind of like the idea of not ending on a 45-minute long battle,
right?
You know, at the end of a season. That is the weakness of many, you know, of these spectacle event movies. You know, you lay all the groundwork and it's really interesting, and then it's just mind numbing, you know, back and forth, you know. So it's kind of nice that doesn't seem to be the focus of this season of television.
Yeah. All right. So who is everyone's favorite character from this episode or in the series so far?
From this episode, it'd be Adar for me.
That's what I was going to say too. I've lost my faith in Arondir with his stupid hammer. I feel he will redeem himself in the final 2 episodes, but that was just dumb. But yeah, Adar was really, really fascinating in this episode. Like, he won. Even though he got captured, and, you know, again, we don't know where he is now after the eruption, but he summoned Mount Doom. So
yeah, I also really loved that exchange between him and Gladriel, when she'd be like calling him orc and he'd be like Arukai.
Yeah. So it's interesting. He won. He got away. You know, his plan worked because he was able to get the sword to the keyhole for it. And also, without any context, in the exchange with Galadriel, he's the good guy, arguably.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
She's the I'm going to kill you and every, and all of your children, so to speak,
Right.
all of your kind. And he's like, hey, it looks like I'm not the only one twisted by darkness. Maybe we should look in the mirror, Galadriel.
Yeah.
Which is, I think my complaints about Galadriel can be easily solved if she goes on, if she has a character arc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If she's going to end up learning from all this, and the way they're leaning into her sort of, it has to be me that does it. I can't stop. I will, I will kill, I'm going to torture your followers by making them be in the sunlight where their skin,
Right.
burns in the sun. All these things that she's driven to, if she's going to learn from them and become the Galadriel of the Third Age, I think all my sort of like, wow, she seems so like human and sort of like down in the mud. That works if there's a character arc. So I don't love Galadriel now because she's acting, but this may all be a good setup for her to learn something. So I think okay. So I'm sort of withholding judgment on that for that reason. But Adar, you're right. He's awesome.
Yeah.
For a bad guy because it's nuance. I also thought the thing that was great, both he and Arondir, to sort of emphasize their elfness, plant a seed before the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is a cool little thing. Like, hey, life in the midst of death. That's a cool thing. But they both do it, and they both. So it just reminds you that Arondir says he's a gardener before the war, and the same spirit is in Adar. And he's just trying to create a world for him and his kind, a world without the sun. Now, of course, the other side of that is, if there's no sun, then everybody else suffers.
Right.
So not great. And also, how well do trees grow without sun? I'm not really sure about what he was planting, but he's twisted. He's been twisted by Morgoth, but you can see there's some nuance. Like you can see. Yes, he's evil, but also he has been twisted by a greater evil, and he has some care about his followers, and he recognizes the bad things that Galadriel is displaying with her strong desire to kill.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Adar is the most interesting guy in this episode for sure.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Well, who's our Sauron?
That's right.
I'm back on board with Halbrand being Sauron.
You think so, huh?
I think so. I think he, first of all, when he catches up to Adar and he's like he's gonna kill him. I remember Adar says that he killed Sauron, or at least he believes he killed Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could have been a lie.
Or he
Who
could have
knows?
lied, yeah.
Yeah, but he's like, do you know who I am? And Adar's like, no, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And it makes him mad. And then, Galadriel stops him from killing him, just as he stops her from killing Adar later on. And now he was just like that. He's the king of the Southland. Well, guess what else is in his kingdom right now? Fucking Mountain Doom. So I'm back on board with Halbrand. He's the phase of Sauron where he's trying to reform and do good, and he doesn't know in his own mind. There's a period I'm pretty sure after some of the events, where Sauron was evil, that he tries to do good for a while, and then he ends up reverting. So I feel like they're compressing that in, and that we're seeing the Sauron arc of I want to do good, I want to start over, I don't want to be evil, back to no, I want the power too much, and if I have the power, I'm back on board with Halbrand being Sauron. All right. What do you guys think?
What do you think, Matt?
I think Dan raises a good argument, and I will trust his judgment.
Yeah, I'm gonna second that and take the easy road out. Use Dan's argument.
There's no other person who really, other than the stranger, who it could be, and the stranger definitely feels like a red herring.
Yes.
He should have been advanced much more by now, halfway through the series. if
or the
he
new
was.
the new strangers, the House Targaryen looking strangers.
Oh yeah,
that we got in last episode. They're also possible. The main one seemed to have a evil elfin type of a look to him.
I feel like those
her.
are the Maiar, the wizards, maybe the blue wizards even.
Were there two blue wizards or three of them?
There were 2 blue wizards, but they could also be. They could be, I suppose, other Maiar. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any answers for that.
One of them was definitely Radagast the Brown. I'm sure of it.
Yes, have that look. If I remember the Hobbit movies, that's pretty much a dead ringer. I mean, we're missing a little bit of bird's nest in the hair type things, but
there's time. There's 1,000 years or so to get that.
There's so much time. There's so much time for birds in the hair.
All right. We talked about this a little last week, but Dan and I both kind of felt that there was an event that needed to happen. And I think this was that event. And I think while I'm not like we said, I'm not a big fan of the battles, it was fitting at this point in the story. So I'm really looking forward to see how they wrap up the last 2 episodes here and in this first season. And we'll have another episode for you next week.
I caught it on audio.